Hi, Vencore Weather meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday, December 30th. Big changes are coming to the overall temperature pattern for the Mid-Atlantic region. We have, of course, experienced a very warm December. Probably it'll end up as the warmest December in many areas in the eastern United States, helped in large part by a raging El Nino in the tropical Pacific, where temperatures, sea surface temperatures, are way above normal, and global temperatures as a result on the whole are well above normal at this particular time. That El Nino looks like it'll rapidly reverse over the early to middle part of 2016, so that by the end of 2016 we could very well be talking about La Nina conditions in the tropical Pacific, colder than normal. Well, the next couple of days will continue to be mild, but colder air starts to push in later tomorrow night, into the day on Friday, and for the most part, that sets off a pattern change that will bring us more sustained cold air outbreaks. It won't stay cold the entire time. Certainly there will be some warmer periods in between, but the warmer periods will be shorter than they've been, and the cold air outbreaks will last a little bit longer than certainly was the case during the month of December. Let's talk over the next couple of minutes about the next 48 hours or so, and then we'll focus in on the longer range. Yesterday we posted about teleconnections that are sending signals about this pattern change from way above normal to near normal, even perhaps below normal by the latter part of January. Well, in the near term, we have yet another cloudy day. December, again, has been very warm and very cloudy. Very few days with sunshine. That will all change over the next 48 hours or so as colder air moves in, more typical for this time of the year. Colder air, drier air, Canadian air, and we'll see more sunshine. Some sunshine tomorrow is a good bet, and certainly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday looks like a decent amount of sunshine each of those days, along with the colder conditions. This is the forecast from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run for this evening. By this time, low pressures moving along a frontal system into the Mid-Atlantic region. Could have showers in the D.C. region anytime after mid-afternoon. Philly, New York City, late afternoon, perhaps holding off to early evening. And then for the most part continuing through the evening hours. Not a major rain event, but certainly another nuisance rain event for late today, especially this evening, ending later on tonight, and yet another mild, cloudy day here in the Mid-Atlantic region with high temperatures at 50 degrees in most areas, perhaps a little bit higher down across the D.C. metro region, and mostly cloudy right from the beginning of the day to the end of the day when the showers arrive. Let's now jump ahead another 24 hours. And here we go. This is the forecast map for tomorrow evening, Thursday evening. By this time, the rain is well off the East Coast. And notice here these isobars, colder air already pushing in at this time. The winds will blow parallel to these isobars out of the northwest by late tomorrow. So the first cold shot associated with this overall pattern change arrives later tomorrow into tomorrow night. Temperatures tomorrow night will bottom out near or below freezing in many parts of the I-95 corridor by early Friday morning, New Year's Day. So again, by later tomorrow, we'll notice a northwest wind here in the I-95 corridor. Colder air coming in, drier air coming in, some sunshine likely later tomorrow, and especially on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with those colder temperatures. Well, now let's look ahead, and let's start off by looking at a couple of teleconnection indices that we certainly focus in on during the wintertime. The first one is the North Atlantic Oscillation. The second one is the Arctic Oscillation. They're kind of closely related, kind of cousins, and it's all related to the pressure pattern way up in the North Atlantic. And when the AO and NAO are negative, that tends to favor some high latitude blocking, and some colder air masses can penetrate down into the middle latitudes, into the Mid-Atlantic region, for example. For the most part, during the month of December, the AO and NAO were in a positive phase, but these are showing signs of changing. This is the NAO. The red here indicates the forecast from the current position, which again is positive. This is the neutral line here, the zero line. A general trend downward with the NAO. This is not quite as dramatic of a change as the AO, which we'll see in a moment, but this too is headed towards neutral or negative territory. Typically in January, neutral brings near normal cold in the Mid-Atlantic region. Negative brings colder than normal. So we're certainly headed in a direction that will bring about a change from December, which again was not only warm, but perhaps a record-breaking warm month. Let's now take a look at the Arctic Oscillation Index. Well, here's the AO index. The black line represents the current condition and past. And notice for the most part in December, this is the December time frame, AO was positive, but it's forecasted to take a dramatic drop over the next week or two, and then it looks like it'll stay below the neutral line. AO switching to a negative phase here. That again sends a red flag to meteorologists that high latitude blocking could develop. That's high pressure, higher than normal pressure over Greenland, for example, or eastern Canada, and that in turn pushes colder air masses into the Mid-Atlantic region. So this is definitely signaling a potential temperature change here compared to the warm December to at least a near normal January, perhaps even at times below normal, a big change from December. Well, let's focus in on the long term by also looking at the 500 millibar height anomaly pattern. All of these maps, by the way, from tropicaltidbits.com. This is actually from the Canadian ensemble run of last night, 0Z last night. And this is, at that time, the current 500 millibar anomaly pattern. And notice, ridging here in the northeastern part of the country, indicated on this map by the orange area, and a big, deep, cold upper level trough situated out in the western part of the country. The west has been generally cold with a lot of snow. The east very warm without much snow. This whole pattern will change over the next few weeks, and really beginning with this next cold shot that arrives later on in this week. Let's now jump ahead and take a look at the 500 millibar pattern in 5 days from now. And here we go. This is the forecast from the Canadian ensemble run of last night for 5 days from now, January 3rd. Notice troughiness here now. The blue showing up along the east coast, certainly colder than what we're experiencing right now. Notice this red area. This is kind of an important movement here. This is that high pressure ridging kind of retrograding back to the north and west, and indeed when it reaches the west coast of North America, even from this position right here, colder air certainly can penetrate into the northeastern part of the country. And this pattern looks like it'll develop certainly during the month of January, again with the ridging popping up along the west coast of Canada and the U.S. and more troughiness over the east. In fact, let's jump ahead to later in the month of January. And here we go. This is more than 10 days out. This is a long-range forecast, again from the Canadian ensemble run from last night, but this has some support from the European model, for example. This is for around the January 11th or 12th time frame. 500 millibar height anomaly pattern. Notice big ridge here that forms along the west coast of Canada, and the deep trough here indicated by the blues here in the eastern part of the U.S. This is a vastly different pattern, basically a flip-flop of the pattern that we're experiencing right now. Again, all sending signals that January will certainly be a different month temperature-wise compared to December. December very warm. January at least down to near normal cold, and perhaps at times below normal. This certainly would suggest below normal cold here in the eastern U.S. come the middle of January. So things are happening in the upper part of the atmosphere. Notice also here the orange spreading all the way across Greenland, even to the east of Greenland. This is the high latitude blocking pattern that we were talking about with AO in a negative phase. We focused on this a lot during the winter outlook that we issued back in mid-October, that there was a reason to believe that AO would have some periodic negative phases during the wintertime, and that would allow for multiple cold air outbreaks into the Mid-Atlantic region. That winter outlook is still available on our website. So again, some big changes coming, beginning with a colder shot that arrives later tomorrow into tomorrow night, and it stays normal cold through the weekend. With that influx of cold, dry Canadian air, the return of sunshine is on the way. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.